Welcome to another episode of InvestStream. I'm Pankaj and I'm here with my friend Sanjay Nath, founder and managing director of Bloom Ventures. So, a lot of people talk about, the life of a VC and, what's exciting about it. What sucks about being a VC?
Interesting.
I mean, I have my own views, but I want to
Yeah,
hear your
yeah.
views.
A couple of. I think it's what's great, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to build a platform
Yeah.
and have spend time with founders, right? I think what is challenging, what is interesting, is that you meet an entrepreneur, you fall in love with him or her in terms of what he's trying to build and change the world, and you realize that now you have not a bureaucracy, but you have a machinery,
Yeah.
and you have to go out and get that into action, to have a IC process, to have the other team members meet them, and the founder really wants to just get ahead and build product or sell, right? The two
Yeah.
things, and they've got to spend time and come and meet your team members, and of course, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's always at the back of our mind, that back of our minds, that how can you move quickly with agility,
Yeah.
yet you do the rigorous. I think that's one. The others, to put on a blazer and a suit and go and meet LPs. But what is really interesting is we're finding that the today I think LPs and investors are really getting interested by the founder stories.
Yeah.
So one is returns, which of course is really important, right? You've got to have a healthy
Of course.
RR, and India's, the challenge, and I think the gauntlet's been thrown for all of us to disprove the fact that India doesn't return or hasn't returned,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's a challenge for all of
Absolutely.
us. But what is interesting is that we're putting our founders in front of our LPs,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really getting excited about this founder story. It's really, hey, wow, I met you in New York about 5 years ago. Now I've come to Bangalore and seen you. Wow, you've really grown.
Yeah.
Like a company like Locust, for example, right? Which with its new round investors, which is just right here down the street in
Yeah.
New York. That's a great story because people say, wow, these companies are now coming out of India.
Right.
It's great to see that they're building global stories. That's the interesting part. I think the challenging part is just again, the challenge is that the quote, India has not performed as well as it should have.
Yeah.
It's for all of us to disprove. So that kind of sucks a bit because people don't give you that the right of way, or that leap of or really the free pass that yes, you do it. You have to prove.
Well,
you really have to prove your metrics. Yes,
Yeah.
you're performing, and there's this close scrutiny.
Because
on
I
it.
think India has, and this is not just tech, but India in general has had a history of taking one step forward and 10 steps back, right? From an economic perspective, right? Whether it was banning Coca-Cola or nationalizing industries, or just regulation that just is out of control, all kinds of things. So there have been a lot of investors who dipped their toes in early and they got bitten, and now they're shy about coming back in.
Yeah.
And it does make all of our jobs a lot harder.
Yeah.
But I think there are enough proof points now where sure, we still only have one unicorn exit coming out of India in the last 20 years, right? Or let's say the last 15
Which
years.
is Flipkart.
Yeah, which is Flipkart. I'm not going to put Naukri and make my trip in that category because I think they're a little
Sure.
bit slightly different. But let's say this cycle in the last 10, 15 years, Flipkart's the only one. That being said, there are some amazing companies that have been built, and the investors in those companies, some of them have taken money out of some of those companies in secondaries. And so the proof points are getting built by
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
people now. So I think collectively, and you and I have talked about this, and I've talked about this with Karthik in the past, collectively as a ecosystem, right, we need to beat the drums a little louder.
Yeah.
Right, and we need to really get in front of the right outlets and show that, look, here are our IRRs, right, publicly, right? Put those numbers out there. Show people that, some of those things we can't do because of regulatory issues, but really, as an industry, get out there and show people that, look, this company was here, today it's here, and this
Yeah.
is what's happened, right? And here are potential acquirers or ways of exiting. And I think that's something that, as an industry, the venture capital and angel industry in India, that's something that we haven't done so well.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think that's an interesting point. And when you do this with Karthik, he'll open the kimono and he'll share all the numbers like
Yeah.
he loves to do. But it's interesting if you think about, some people have actually asked us, are Indian entrepreneurs ambitious enough? And absolutely they are.
Yeah.
I think it's all been about the execution and building, about team building, scaling. India Internet Day, which just happened like, a couple of weeks ago, about 3-4. It was a really audacious and ambitious, nicely ambitious tagline, 100 unicorns.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
I think obviously China has 60. I think we have 20 today. India has 20 unicorns today.
Is it 20 now?
I think we have about 20. If you look at some who are like Sunicorns, you add
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The grey oranges
Yep.
and the Udans and the others.
Yeah.
Now Handstone from GGV and the other investors from Chiming Wall there. Somebody wrote an article in the Times of India saying that India is not China, will never be China, and should not be China.
I agree.
And no, but here's what's interesting. They were actually, it wasn't a knock on India, but it was like
India's going to take a different path.
it's a different path. But
Yeah.
the Chinese, Handstone actually came in and said that I'm super bullish on India. Yes, it can't be China, but we are here for a reason.
Because
should
it's
we
India.
should we capitalists come into 3 of our companies? They're looking at more, right?
Yeah.
The Chinese strategics and the Japanese are coming. We have Japanese LPs. You brought up an interesting point about sharing and writing and awareness. I think as an industry, I think we can all do much more to share, because what happens is if there isn't data or if there isn't transparency, people just stay away. They
Absolutely.
say, oh, it's unknown, so I won't get in.
Absolutely.
And I think so we need more proof points, like you said. Flipkart was great,
Yeah.
but it was an anomaly because it was way out, and right field, home run out of
Yeah.
the park. Secondaries and the exits are interesting because more money going out means more money coming back,
Yeah.
and renewed confidence, right?
Absolutely.
Just like for LPs.
Yeah.
So we need, you're absolutely right, to create a array, to create a systematic, to create a scientific process or a scalable process of these returns going out, coming in.
Yeah.
And we don't need necessarily 20 billion exits. To use a cricket analogy and baseball, we need more twos and
We need
threes.
singles
we
and
need
doubles.
singles and doubles.
Yeah.
We don't. All of them don't
Yeah.
have to be home runs.
Absolutely.
But we need a scalable array of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would urge you to talk to all of our friends back in India and do India Internet Day 2020 in New York City.
Okay. Sure.
This is where all the customers are.
Absolutely.
This is where all the LPs are.
Well, what we could do is we can have different versions. You can
Yeah.
obviously you have the India version because that's where you get all the founders.
Yeah.
But I think all of us, just like how the government of India had India Incredible, this is not really a rara. This is a very realistic look.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
what you do here is also great. You talk about the risks and you talk about what's good. It's
Yeah.
not just a
We have to balance it.
It's
We
not a
have, to,
marketing thing.
we have to tell a balanced story, and that's where we will gain credibility, right?
And focus, you hit the nail. I think focus on customers and users, right? For both those sides. We all kind of obsessed about going to investors,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, just want to come and pitch to us all the time. Realize the end game is you get the growth and you get customers.
Investors will
And-
come.
and
They'll
we-
chase you.
We follow.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Well, Sanjay, thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you for joining us again on InvestStream, and I will see you again next time.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.